Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I'm going to do a somewhat quick video about why sometimes my videos are longer and I repeat myself. As some people have been commenting. I noticed a few comments, and I know this is true, but I wanted to talk about why this is and why I'm probably going to continue to do this for the most part. So the reasoning behind this is about teaching. Right? And the thing is, repetition is how you learn something. And it's not just repetition that's important, really, to make something stick. It's also different approaches and different ways of thinking about it. So a lot of times when I do a video or when I'm just teaching someone a concept, I'll tend to beat a dead horse. and I'm doing that mostly on purpose, because I realize that if I tell you one thing, you might not get it the first time. In fact, I might use different words that, we all have different interpretations of what words mean and phrases, and I might use it in a way that you don't quite get it. But if I tell it to you 3 times in 3 different ways, you're probably going to get the point, and it's probably going to stick a lot better. So, I think you'll see that a lot of times with any kind of teaching that's really effective, is that it's going to have that element of repetition. It's also going to have an element of saying the same thing in different ways. And so this is, I'm not just saying this just to talk about why I like to talk a lot in videos, but I'm also telling this to give you an idea of how you can teach people better and how you can help them to understand things better. Because oftentimes also, when we tell someone something, right, and it's definitely harder with a YouTube, with a video audience, because I don't know, I'm not looking at you and seeing, we're not having a conversation, right? I'm just talking at you, essentially. But oftentimes when you're talking to someone, you think that they understand, and they may nod their head, in fact, right? And they may make all the indications that they understand, because we're sort of trained to do that, but they might not actually understand. So it's often good to repeat what you said, to say it in a different way, or to even engage the person and have them repeat back to you, rephrase it, paraphrase it to you. So anyway, for those of you that are wondering, again, why I do this, and so you're going to see it here now, right? Because I've probably said the same thing or said the same thing in a similar way probably 2 times now, and I'm probably going to wrap it up here, right? Because that's kind of the natural, and you'll kind of get a natural feel for this, but that's kind of the natural progression. Is I'm probably going to hit it home a 3rd time is probably what you'll see if you look at my videos. You'll probably see 1 time laying it out, a 2nd time elaborating slightly on it, and a 3rd time wrapping it up and offering a few additional points. And so that's what I'm about to do right now. So in summary, the reason why I'm doing the videos, and you can see that if you go back and look at the videos, is because of the repetition element, of course, which you should get by now, right? Now you've heard that 3 times. And then also, of course, the saying it different ways. Now that I've said this multiple different ways, you can actually see how I've said this different ways. You should be getting this point, right? And then, and then that's it. And that's something that you should do when you teach. Anytime you talk to someone, to make sure that they understand, because the onus, especially in a medium like this, the onus is on you to make sure that the understanding comes across. It's not on the listener, right? The listener might not get it, or they might not get what you're saying, or really get what you're saying. But I guarantee if you hit it home, that they will. And sometimes it's not effective. And sometimes people are going to get it right off, and that's fine. And they say, oh, that's boring, and why do you keep repeating yourself? But often, and I'll add, see, and I'm about to do that point, which is I'll add one last point to this, which is that often, especially if you've been listening to my YouTube videos for a while, you probably will say, hey, John, what you're saying is a lot of common sense, that you're not saying anything new. I already knew all this. Correct, right? Hopefully you did. Because what you'll often find, that the most valuable advice that you get in life is stuff you already knew, but you're getting reminded of, and it's being reinforced. So a lot of times, I mean, even just in my own education, in a lot of the books I read, they're saying a lot of the same things, a lot of similar things, but I still read them because getting that reinforcement, hearing the same thing over again that I already know, reminds you, it jolts you back into thinking about the thing that you forgot about before, or you stopped thinking about for some reason. So oftentimes, you know, I'll do that as well, which is, you know, just hearing it multiple times is gonna help you to internalize it, make it stick, make you actually remember these things that you want to remember. So anyway, that's a somewhat quick video on that. If you have any questions for me about why I do some of the things that I do, you know, obviously not everything is planned out, but I go by feel, and I've figured out a lot of things over time doing, and I'm still learning. It's a learning process. But anyway, if you have questions about it, it helps me when you ask me a question, because then I analyze and say, well, why do I do things like this way? And does this make sense? And do I need to make a change here? So anyway, that's it. And you can email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. If you like this video, if you like to hear me tell you something 3 times, subscribe to the channel. Take care.